Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. We are screwed. The Western world is in a serious conundrum. We have a total void, a total lack of competent leadership. It's an issue that we seriously need to take on. The West as a whole has an issue in political recruitment, I guess we could call it. If you think about it, in corrupt dictatorships, now obviously I'm not trying to defend corrupt dictatorships, but I'm trying to point out an obvious dynamic. They get their best and brightest to be leading the charge, to be running the country. Those people, of course, become oligarchs, and there's a very strong power incentive for them to get involved in politics. In a free market, in a free society, it's a little bit different. People who have talent generally want to go into the market and benefit from their talent, aka what's left goes into politics and gets a government job. And then, of course, we're stuck with what we have. I mean, just think about it. The left rallies behind a couple different people. The biggest names of the Democrat Party are Joe Biden, sleepy, creepy, incompetent geriatric Joe, crazy Bernie Sanders, who's never held a job in his entire existence, not even a single real job, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Those are the flagship names of the Democrat Party. Talk about bad news bears. And the Republican Party isn't necessarily better. Donald Trump, of course, was a breath of fresh air and a total anomaly, but it feels as though it's nearly impossible to get real talent in leadership when it comes to the world of politics. And this is a definite flaw to the current state of governance in the Western world. How do we fix it? Definitely don't go the route of a corrupt dictatorship, of course not, but there has to be a way to fix this issue because it's bad. And that's really what I want to show you guys in this video. Of course, we're going to use AOC to highlight the point that I'm trying to make, but before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We're still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so when I say that we are being led by incompetence, AOC is, of course, the prime example. I mean, think about it. Millions upon millions of people look to AOC for guidance, view her as a serious political player, and a very, how can I put this? A very
educated mind.
And so let's delve into the educated mind that is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Let's see what it's all about.
What actions do you think can be taken to support movements towards peace, both between Israelis and Palestinians, as well as within the entire region, such as the Abraham Accords?
Yeah. So, earlier just now, you and I were talking about the what and the how.
Yes. And
I think that when we talk about establishing peace, centering people's humanities, protecting people's rights, it's not just about the what and the end goal, which often gets a lot of focus, but I actually think it's much more about the how and the way that we are coming together and how we interpret that what and how we act in the actions that we take to get to that what.
AOC was just asked a question about a complex geopolitical issue in the Middle East, and she went on for nearly a minute and a half maybe, and said absolutely nothing. It's not about the how, it's about the what. It's not about the where, it's about the when. What are you even saying? None of what you just said makes any sense whatsoever. There's really only one reaction to have in response to that clip, and it's this.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Rambling and incoherent. Those are the two words that I could use to describe it. When it comes to AOC and when it comes to Twitterati's in general, there's one thing that I notice very often. No matter what the subject matter is, no matter how educated or uneducated they are, they take a stance, a very strong stance, and will say whatever they have to say to defend it. Very often on this channel, you'll hear me saying, I'm not an expert in this field. I don't know. I don't have an opinion. I get in debates with people or discussions. People want to talk about global warming and other issues. And for the most part, I just opt out because I'm not educated enough on the subject. AOC, however, I don't think there's a single issue in the entire scope of issues within the realm of politics where she would ever opt out and say, you know what? I don't think I know what I'm talking about here, so I'm just going to back out. And this is also something that her and her lefty friends have been trying to get themselves involved with. They've taken a strong stance on the side against Israel with Palestine for the most part. But when questioned about solutions within the Middle East, she offers up absolutely no insight whatsoever whatsoever. She said nothing. This person is a congresswoman. This person is one of the most powerful political players in the Democrat Party in today's politics, period. When Nancy Pelosi and all the boomer Democrats are out, AOC is going to be the face of the party. That should be scary. That's really scary. It's also scary that somebody with little to no knowledge whatsoever is influencing people's minds when it comes to economic policy, foreign policy, and environmental policy. Somebody who isn't necessarily well read on the issues coming out and saying that the world's going to end in 9 years unless we do something. Somebody pushing for massive government spending packages without understanding the consequences or the factors of that kind of wasteful spending in the first place. This is the Democrat Party, and it's not just AOC. My biggest grievance with the Obama administration was just the naivete of it all. A lot of it on paper sounded nice. It was great to get elected through the idealistic vision that Obama was portraying, but the world isn't that simple, and when put into practice, Obama was an abject failure, period. Especially in the foreign policy dynamic. The idea that comes from the left is to just back off, live and let be, or project weakness, to bow down to the mob, defund the police. It's all connected in a certain way. It's just a liberal way of thinking, but it never seems to work. Biden decide to reverse Trump's actions and send hundreds of millions of dollars to Palestinians because it will support Israeli-Palestinian stability. Once again, just throwing money at an issue, thinking it's going to solve something, but all they're doing right here, in my opinion at least, is funding a war. They're funding the other side, bolstering them, which might lead to more conflict, and maybe that's exactly what they want, considering they've become the warmongering left. Talk about projecting weakness. Biden is now projecting weakness on the world after Donald Trump had them all in their place, let's be real. Iran tankers with 3 million barrels of crude oil head to Syria, defying US sanctions. Iran feels emboldened to not even follow the sanctions that were placed on it now that Joe Biden is in office. Project weakness, and these adversaries will walk all over you. The naivete of the left once again proves itself to be exactly that, naive. Donald Trump, however, projected strength and optimism and produced historic peace deal after historic peace deal after historic peace deal. We're continuing to see the effects of that. Half a year after Trump brokered peace deal, Sudan scraps Israel boycott. 6 months after the Trump administration brokered a normalization deal between Israel and Sudan, Khartoum on Tuesday moved to scrap a decades-old Israel boycott law. Cabinet ministers voted to abolish the 1958 law, which penalized violators with heavy fines and up to 10 years of jail time for infractions such as conducting trades with Israelis. So the strength and optimism that Donald Trump was using in his foreign policy tactics, as we saw all over the place on China, on Russia, North Korea, in the Middle East, the southern border with Mexico, steel trade and dairy with Canada, you saw results on every single one of those fronts. Now with Joe Biden in office and lefties projecting weakness, capitulation, taking a step back, being passive rather than aggressive, well, what happens when you take a step back is your adversary, or the person at the negotiating table, whether it's an ally or not, will of course take a step forward in their own benefit. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. It's America last, led by a bunch of incompetents who understand absolutely nothing about geopolitics, foreign policy, and domestic policy, economic policy. AOC, of course, is the worst offender on the left side of politics, but frankly, what I just stated, that description, is accurate for nearly all of them. A total naivete mixed in with total wasteful spending, just throwing money at different issues, thinking they're doing something about it, wasting money over and over and over again, like this new infrastructure bill, which has nothing to do with infrastructure to the extent that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was mocked for trying to redefine the meaning of infrastructure so they can defend their absolutely ridiculous bill, which has almost nothing to do with what it's literally named for. It's just another example of exactly what I'm talking about. I guess we could all sum it up as Democrat incompetence. Now that's the video that I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We're still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. But now, like usual, I gotta get back to work. There's a whole lot of hypocrisy that must be exposed on a daily basis. I'm gonna get to that. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.